Man United. I'm going to start off with the Harry Maguire, who's recently today, has just been announced that he will be keeping the captain's armband at Man United this season. Ten Haag believes him and trusts in him, which might just be him who does. But what do you make of the whole decision about him being a captain? I think there's so many layers we can discuss with this. This is quite a big discussion point.
Hard, isn't it? I mean, I don't think there's anything more that could... He's been poor, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He hasn't... No player asks for the price tag. It's just at the end of the day what someone's willing to pay. So... Leicester are renowned for selling one player basically every year for an obscene amount of money.
Yeah.
And Maguire was that player that season, and they just said to Man United, we want 80 million, and United went, okay.
But at the time, it did make sense. He was a great player. It's just, I think so much, this United, I think he's gone in at a really bad time. We've spoken about it before.
Yeah.
It's a rebuild, it's a transition, it's a really poor Man United area. And he's been used as a scapegoat.
He is, yeah.
We look at Pogba, who's just literally left today, so he's got out of it. Other players, Alexis Sanchez, when he was used as a scapegoat,
another one,
they've all got out fast, but Maguire can't get out. He's on a big contract. He's the captain. He's the main focal point. Ronaldo wants out. All these players, quite clearly, Man United, it's not a good environment. It's toxic.
It's not. No.
Whereas Harry Maguire is stuck there because no one else is going to be interested. Whereas you look at Alexis Sanchez, all these other players, they're attractive.
Look at all the ones that have gone. They're basically frees as well, aren't they? So it shows that United are obviously trying to recoup money that they can.
Yeah.
And they can't get the money that they want. You know, like Alexis Sanchez went on a free. I bet you United would have wanted like 30 or 40 million for him, and no one was going to pay that for him.
Yeah.
Prior to his move to United, people would have snapped their hand off at that because that's what Arsenal paid for him, was 30 million.
But that's the point. That's the point I'm trying to make. That all these players, they all could get out because they get out of jail free card. We'll go on a free. I'll take a big lump sum when I go somewhere else, and I can forget about United.
Yeah.
Whereas Harry Maguire physically cannot do that. He's got years left in his contract, and he will be known as and everything gets blamed on him. I'm one to slander him a lot, and I know that because he's been poor.
Yeah, he's been poor.
Signing. But at the same time, I do feel for him because I do look at the rest of the squad and think he's going to get found out when you've got players like Fred and McTominay as your two holding midfielders in front of you.
Lindelof, who for me hasn't really ever... I know that people have said he's improved this last season, but how long's he been at Man United? He was a Mourinho signing from Benfica.
Yeah,
and only just now people have gone, oh yeah, he's improved. Like... If you paid 30 mil for him, I'd want something more than 4 years later on.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those. He's an easy scat, and I think it's obvious that he does care about Man United and wants them to do well. The systems haven't suited him because when you look at the way Leicester played, counter-attack, he drove up the pitch with the ball. Yeah. When you're United, people aren't going... Maybe now teams will try and play against you, but typically teams don't open up against Man United at Old Trafford.
And they push forward and there's a high line behind
him. There's a high line behind. He gets caught out.
A big amount of space
behind him. You get caught on the counter. It looks like Maguire's fault. But... And the captain's always the first one to get it. Always the captain is the first one to get it. You look at like any bad team where it's gone wrong, it's always the captain. And even like locally when it's been West Brom in the past, even though it's on a smaller scale. Although West Brom's problems and Man United problems are so much similar. It's just that Man United's are on a billionaire scale. They actually are.
Yeah.
But it's always the captains that get it first. Always, because they're the ones that are the face of the team that are meant to be the example.
I don't think it helps as well when you've got a signing, like a key signing, like Ronaldo, who came in. How on earth Maguire can get respect in the dressing room? And I don't mean that disrespectfully to him, but why would a player listen to somebody like Harry Maguire if, quite clearly, and there was leaks about this, that Ronaldo didn't like him and didn't respect him? How on earth can people
egos,
look up to him?
It's too many egos, isn't it?
And that's the problem with Man United signings. They haven't built a squad, and it's a group of individuals. And I feel like Harry Maguire, yes, has not worked out, but I just really think the tools around him and the way it's all been put together just has not worked.
It hasn't helped him.
And I think if you were to take the captain's armband away from him, I can only imagine it would get worse. Because,
you might as well release him.
Yeah, because you're saying to him, you're not good enough, mate.
Yeah, you're not good enough to be captain, but we can't get rid of you, so we'll just keep playing you every week because we've got no other choice. At which point you might as well just say your contract's worth 20 million, just take it and leave.
Yeah.
But they won't. But yeah, so I think they couldn't afford to. And I think Ten Haag does come across as one of those that could put an arm round a player. I think he's another one where he's clearly got a system.
Yeah.
And that's why when they're in the market for like these De Jongs and they've got this left back in, I know they're going to Holland a lot for theirs, which you would expect him to, but they're obviously trying to build. They obviously want to give him the players to fit the system, but I think he's one of those where he could put an arm around a player. Or he's gone the other way and he's just told him, like, Harry, mate, you've got to shape up, otherwise you're out.
Yeah.
You know, either way, there's got to be a change.
And I've spoken about this before. I think the pressure on the board with a signing like that, it's an asset at the end of the day, because Man United is run as a business, and I don't think you can drop a player like that or say you want out, because in the value of the asset depreciates too much. Because at the end of the day, I know it's a harsh way of looking at it, but footballers are assets to these businesses, so it does make sense, and I really do worry for him and feel for him. So I never thought I'd say this. I feel like I've a complete U-turn here on Harry Maguire. I just think I try to look at it and step back and look at it as a whole situation. I just think it's just not worked out for him, but I don't think he's been helped by Man United or the team around
and it's one of them. When you've got, like, when it's the middle of, like, the season that it was for Man United, and you've got your TV broadcasting stations which are hot on Man United because they are the big team that's falling down every single week, and they're clever because the names that they pick to go on are ones that will target Man United, but they all seem to pick out Maguire. So once one of them does it, they all do it. You know, and you look at some of them, they all go, well, Ronaldo scored goals, so he's done his bit. But actually he hasn't, because Ronaldo doesn't do an awful lot otherwise to the team.
Yeah.
Would you argue Ronaldo's made Man United worse? Quite possibly, if you look at their worst Premier League season finish.